screwing around and start!
Pointy Star View here, and today we're doing a Fluffal Deck Profile. It's a deck that I played before, have been working on for quite a while, and I'm really excited to show you guys how it plays. Two disclaimers. One, this is technically a Master Rule 5 deck. You can play it almost exactly as is in Master Rule 4, but it does work better in Master Rule 5. Second disclaimer, I am running an OCG card. I will actually explain what you could swap that for cards that are available in TCG instead. It was a Japanese promo, which means that if we get it, it'll be in like one of the special sets that we get that generally randomly include promos, so we'll start without further ado. The first card we're running is 3 copies of Fluffal Dog. This card searches everything when it's normal or summoned from your hand special. So there's a couple ways that you can do that. This guy searches for any of your Fluffals or Scissors, which is fun. I wish it just said Fluffal or Edge Imp, but you know. Searches for your Fluffals. Most of the time you'll be using him to either finish your draw combo or to pick up the specific tech pieces that you need for the scenario. 3 Bear. There's a card I wasn't a huge fan of, but being able to do your draw combo is really good. Also, there are plenty of times when you can get this card out the grave and then use its tribute effect to bring back a Poly, which actually does come up quite a bit because you run out of resources sometimes. Due to running out of resources, we're really maxing out on this draw combo. If you can get the draw combo off, you get to basically turn a card of a hand of 5 cards into 7+, because you just keep adding cards to your hand and drawing and adding and such. Yeah, so it's really good if you can get the little combo off. For 2 of us, we're running 2 copies of the Penguin. So this guy has 2 effects. You can once per turn special summon a card out of your hand, except for it. Really good because Dog and Owl and such get their effects when they're summoned from the hand, as well as just getting bodies on board really helps out for a couple other things. Other effect is when it's fused, you can draw 2 and pitch a card. Really good. You can pitch cards that you want in the graveyard, or you can just, drawing is nice. For 1 of us, we're running 1 Owl. I've been considering trying this at 2 again with Penguin and other cards. Just being able to get the polymerization or the pay 500 life points is really good. 1 Cat recycles Poly. 1 Sheep. I've been considering trying this at 2 as well. Now that Cross Sheep is out, being able to just throw this on the board, bounce back a card that you want onto your hand, summon out an Edge Imp, and then link off into Cross Sheep really is nice because it's just Monster Reborn plays. It's just good. And I'm running 1 Rabbit. I run Rabbit because these 2 are really good and you kind of want them whenever you can because they just extend your plays. Everything just extends your plays, so being able to put stuff back, very nice. This is the OCG card, Fluffal Angel. So you can tribute this card, target a Frightfur Fusion monster in your graveyard, discard a card, and then summon it back. But the other effect is the more important one. When it's in the scale, you can target a Fluffal or Edge Imp monster in your graveyard and special summon it. But for the rest of the turn, you can only summon cards from your extra decks that are fusion monsters. So basically, once you have your link out, you can use this to further extend your plays. Big thing being, if you use that, pull back Penguin. You can use Penguin, summon out of your hand like a Dog, and then you can search a card, which is really nice because, That is the end of the Fluffal monsters. We're playing a smaller Edge Imp package than the last time I played the deck. 3 chain. You send this to the grave, you search the good cards. There are scenarios where it's just on board, especially because you can use sheep and stuff. So technically you can attack to search for it, but most of the time you're just going to use this to search for the new spell, which then just in turn searches for it again. Only other Edge Imp we're running is the 1 Sabres. This card's bad. Once it's in play forever, and try not to banish this card, but yeah. We're on to spells. The first card we're running is 3 copies of Toy Vendor. Toy Vendor is not once per turn in any way. It's not a hard once per turn at least, so each copy you can pitch a card, each copy you can send and search, each copy you can discard 1 off of the other, draw, pitch, and then get the effects, stuff like that. This is one of the newer cards. This card came out while I was gone. It's probably not that new, but its effect is search Poly and search an Edge Imp card. Most of the time you're just going to grab Chain and Poly, though occasionally being able to search Scissors is nice, but everything else in your deck searches Scissors, so this is the way you pick up Chain. And the last Frightfur spell card is 1 Frightfur Fusion. I could see you running this at 2. I could also see you running the factory and stuff. The thing is, you don't really need that many cards, and with the Cross Sheep you kind of already recur enough, and so this card is just kind of a game winner. You just use this to push for game. We are running 3 copies of polymerization. It's not once per turn because it's old, and that's why you don't really need the Frightfur Fusion. This can just, you can really pop off, and you get a lot of cards in your hand really quick. Like this card turns one card into 2 cards. The little sheep combo turns 2 cards into 4 cards, 3 or 4 if you get lucky on the draw. I'm only running 2 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Now this is actually, if you were to play this card without the Angel, I would actually swap this to be 3 Foolish Burial Goods and 1 copy of Galaxy Cyclone, because then Galaxy Cyclone can be banished from the grave. Increasing the copies of this, in my opinion, means that you should probably increase the targets. That's why the 1 copy Galaxy Cyclone is good. There are some targets like mine and stuff that are problematic cards, but you know. This is a Master Rule 5 deck. Instant Fusion is a great extender. Instant Fusion out Sheep, Polymerization, Fuse Sheep and your guy together, then that guy can pull back Sheep. Even if you're doing Master Rule 4, this tech can work. It's just a little better when you're not locked to just one zone. This is a newer addition to this deck specifically. I am running this in a lot of things, but I just found that getting stopped by a hand trap, so your deck desperately needs the 1,000 million extra cards it gets, so this card just allows you to get to those cards without getting stopped. I do have some more expensive cards, but I'm not willing to shell out the 140 plus for Lightning Storm. This should probably be 2 copies of Lightning Storm. I found Raigeki and Twin Twisters works. I've also found Raigeki and 1 Lightning Storm works from my testing online. But at the same time, it's just really not worth the money. I don't think you should buy it unless you're really planning to go to a YCS. And even then, this is a going second deck, and so planning for going second all the time can be rough because sometimes you'll be forced to go first. There are plays you can do, little basic boards you can set up, but no, yeah. Those 2 cards work as substitutes. And the last card I'm running is Monster Reborn. Just an extender, being able to pull out cards, some of the Edge Imp cards that you've already used to be able to make more fusions, or to pull back Sheep in order to go again, or being able to pull back stuff like, you know, the Bear and Pitch to get a new Monster Reborn. It's just a good extender for the deck. That's the main deck. Moving on to the extra. We have 1 copy of Bear. I'm only running this because it's ulti and I like Five Nights at Freddy's, so I thought it was kind of a good joke. This could really be like any Link or Xseed that you want instead. 2 copies of Wolf. If your opponent leaves an empty board, you summon him and then you win the game. He also gets really big with our Tigers. 2 copies of Tigers, this guy's super good. Big thing to remember if you haven't played the deck before, you can only control 1 of him, which means that you can't make 1, blow up their board, and then make a second one and blow up more cards. You just have to only do the 1. Try to not get too greedy as well. You could easily go poly this guy with like 4 materials and try and pop the whole board, but if it gets stopped, you just lost your whole hand. Try to play it more reserved and only pop a couple of cards. You can get really big monsters out, then it can attack a lot of times because a lot of your guys just get random buffs. 2 copies of Sheep. This guy, you mostly run it at 2 because of instant fusion. You can just pull 1 out and then you can fuse it. He is the Armandi's effect. Your opponent can't do stuff in response, and if he dies, he comes back, but people don't destroy things very often, and so they're definitely not going to destroy him. So it's mostly if you want to, you can trade it off and then he'll come back with an attack boost to try and beat over important threats. We have 2 copies of Frightfur Kraken. This guy's really good. He's soft once per turn, and if you use his copy's effect to banish a card, that copy cannot attack twice, but then if you get him off the field and bring him back via one of the many ways I've told you about, then he can attack twice, or he can remove another card. A really good card. 1 copy of Daredevil, just a big beat stick, 3k. It's kind of only really good in case if you don't have the buffs everywhere because everything else gets really strong. Other things, these 2 can be summoned generically. All the other ones have specific requirements of Scissors and or Chain, but this guy being generic, just a Frightfur and a Fluffal, very useful, or an Edge Imp and a Fluffal, very, very useful. You make this guy a lot because sometimes he's removal plus damage, so. Sabretooth. This guy does a lot for you. He buffs all your stuff. If you use 2 materials to make him, you're really good. If you use instant fusion, summon him, pull back the thing you instant fusioned, you just got a whole bunch of cards. That does not even include the fact that most of your Fluffals do stuff in fusions, like all the little level 1s and stuff, so very good card. It lets you try and keep some of that advantage on the board. You don't want to go minus when doing this. Since I'm running Instant Fusion, I'm running 1 copy of Thousand Dice Restrict. I could easily see myself, if I was like taking this to a tournament or something, dropping the copy of Frightfur Bear, replacing this with Millennium Eyes Restricts, as he just got confirmed for a reprint. Since we're running the instant fusions anyways, these are decent cards to run. There's just spot removal for important cards like Appaloosa or something that's dangerous. For X Seeds, I'm only running Abyss Dweller. It doesn't really matter, but you do have Penguin as a water, which means that he'll get the attack buff, which is kind of nice. Stopping the opponent from playing the game occasionally if you have to go first is fine. Being forced to go first against dolls just makes it so that all of their stuff is live, so if you have to make a play, try and get this out. You can get multiple level 4s out pretty easily, especially thanks to how the deck can just pull cards out and search very easily, so you know. Cross Sheep. I've been thinking about running 2 Sheep because of this. I've been thinking about running a lot of things. Sheep can just summon itself if you have Fluffal out, so being able to summon Dog, get Sheep, and then link into Cross Sheep means that all your link play or all your fusion plays will be very good. If you fuse with stuff like Penguin or Rabbit or Cat plus Cross Sheep plus Chain, if you do that, like, you get all your cards back. Like, you could go have Cross Sheet out, fuse Cat into or Chain together into just a generic. Cat puts Polly back, and then Chain adds a card from your deck to your hand, and then Cross Sheep summons back either Chain or the Cat. It just, you'll never run out of materials that way, and it just lets your decks be good. I think this card, I got this card for super cheap. I mean, I pulled one and then I bought another one for pretty cheap, and it's just going up in price. Out of all the cards that have been released recently, this one's the most a threat. It depends, because it's a good card. It's not busted, but it's really good, so we'll see what happens. This is Fluffals. I quite enjoyed the deck. It's really silly, kind of cute. Not the best deck out there. I'd say that if you took this to a tournament, you'd probably do decently. You lose to a couple of things, like the opponent being able to play cards that interrupt you. You gain so many cards, so much advantage that it's good. A big problem is Droll Knockbird, which is why you try to have those 2 copies of Drag Down. I don't really have a full side deck. I'll throw something together on down in the description and such for you all, but mostly I would just say if you're in a matchup where you need it, put in more copies of Called By in the side or similar cards, so that way your opponent can or that way you can play through your opponent's stuff. But yeah, make sure to tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Have a wonderful day. Yeah.